Hey, how have you been, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to Supernatural. This time we're on season 14, episode 12, titled Profit and Loss. And in the last one, in Damaged Goods, we returned with what I assume is the end of Nick's journey, as of being released as from Lucifer's possession and having entered a kind of one-man vengeance mission to avenge his family's murder at the hands of Lucifer, or we now know Abraxas, the demon that Lucifer ordered to kill Nick's family. But we returned to him, and he was tracking down. He was tracking down Abraxas as well as the hunter who was said to have killed him. But it later turned out that the hunter was not only Mary, but she also actually trapped him away in a box because they were fighting and he was winning. So he killed the demon who gave him the info, tracked her down through Donna, who we saw, and kidnapped her to try and find out where Abraxas was and just bring all of that stuff to a close. But yeah, he he kidnapped Mary, took the security guard for Abraxas to possess, and then killed Abraxas, and then in the end he got arrested as well because he did a lot of bad stuff while he was on his vengeance mission. He killed a lot of people, hurt a lot more, and just became almost as bad as the demon he was hunting. So, I think Dean made a good point that Nick had been Lucifer's vessel for all those years, and that kind of stuff. Like Sam of all people should know that kind of thing does stuff to a person. Like Sam was possessed by Lucifer, it left him no better, and even before being possessed by Lucifer, he was still down for the count with a lot of with his demon blood addiction and just a lot of stuff going on with him. So he kind of made a good point of actually being like you can't always be compassionate around people, you can't always be too optimistic about these kinds of people. Sometimes you have to be able to identify when a person is too far gone or too far past saving, and then you have to actually cut them off or put them down or something. So in the end, Donna did arrest Nick, so he is likely going to jail for a long time. But it was nice to bring that to a close. I think when Nick was first introduced, I think the majority of people did hope for a redemption arc with him, because the way they introduced him was that everyone who interacted with him in any way, all they ever saw was Lucifer, because that's the face that he would predominantly wear. So it was hard to actually see him as anything else and see him other than the man who'd committed all of these atrocities. But then Nick had taken over, Lucifer had taken over Nick's life so much that even after death he was still like his actions were still the consequences of his actions were still being held over Nick's head, and Nick himself was looking for answers as to what had happened to his family and why Lucifer did what he did. So yeah, it's nice to see it come to a very, very swift and easy kind of close on Nick's journey, and hopefully that is the last we see of him, because I don't really know what more they could do with him that wouldn't really be milking his character or trying to reel him into another storyline somehow. But it's a nice way to bring that stuff to a close. He's avenged his family's murder, he's kind of in his own little moody funk now, so and Lucifer's gone, so that's also a plus. But yeah, I think that I'd say that is the end of Nick's journey, so I'm hoping that's the last we see of him. Dean did a thing. Dean did a thing, a very bad thing. For one thing, he began his farewell tour, going around and saying goodbye to people, namely Mary and Donna, with whom he met up, and Mary, who he wanted to have, with whom he wanted to have some mother-son bonding time with, built making the Winchester surprise meal as I think one last meal, and then he used Donna's shed to build a Maleth box, which we now know is a box that's specifically contained, or at least known to be designed to contain an archangel, or a person being possessed by an archangel. So the last book that Billy gave him was the one book where everything ends right. Every other book ends with like Michael escaping Dean's mind and possessing Dean and then burning down the world, but this one book where Dean gives up his own freedom to make sure that Michael never gets out is the only book that gets right. So he said, like, you know, this is the way things are. He's gonna have a boat ship him out to the Pacific or something and then just drop him in the ocean, and then he's gonna be locked down there with Michael for eternity, pretty much, because I think he can be kept alive by Michael's possession. So Dean's already adamant on this being the only way because it's what the book says, and he's pretty sure that there is no other way. And he didn't tell Sam because he said himself, like, if he told Sam, he knew that Sam would be the only one capable of trying to talk him out of it, or even succeeding in talking him out of it, and he couldn't let that happen. So he really was going to do this without even telling Sam. But I think we did see some reluctance from Sam in the last episode. We saw him kind of, you know, just being like, you know, like, there has to be another way, like there's always another way. And it's very true, like with these types of finales, they always do improvise a little bit or find another way at the last second, and, you know, everything seems to work out. But, you know, with this, it's like Dean seems more adamant than ever, and like Michael is the biggest threat they've ever faced, besides from Lucifer. But even with Michael, it's like Dean's body is his cage now, like he's locked away in his mind and he can feel the door giving, but he doesn't know how long it's actually going to last for. So in Dean's mind, the sooner he does this, the better, and that the less risk they face of actually allowing Michael to break out. So yeah, that's everything happening up until now. So season 14, episode 12, Profit and Loss. Let's go. Is Michael coming out? Is Michael getting out of his mind? Is he fighting out? Or is Dean realizing this was all a big mistake and that there actually is another way?
Didn't mean to wake you. Sorry.
Are they in a motel?
Bad dream. It's fine.
Oh, jeez.
Talk about it?
No, I'm okay.
He could literally keep you buried in a coffin, alive, forever.
Okay. I get it. But what's the other option?
Just like the cons of immortality just amplified. So you getting ready to cook? Cannibal or a monster? I mean, they're both basically one and the same, but still. No, this is straight up murder. This is gonna be straight up murder. Oh yeah, this is straight up murder. Oh, it's a human sacrifice. It's not just murder. It's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. And we see Nick again. That's fantastic.
Okay, sunshine.
That's a real thing, okay? He left me, but...
Oh, right, because he did still kill
Changed me.
people as Satan. He did kill people when Lucifer was inside him.
Listen, you piece of crap.
Oh, God. Oh, no tank of water this time. No tank of water, just straight up neck slitting. Oh, jeez.
I mean, he practically raised me.
Especially given John's
I know things
absence.
got dicey. Dad would send me away when I really pissed him off. I think you knew that.
Man, I left that behind a long time ago.
John Winchester was not the best father. Not even a good father.
And if we're gonna get through this,
That needs
I
to be
have
said.
do like you said.
Thank you.
You know the drill.
Don't tell me
Hands
this is an
behind your back.
escape plan. Tell me this is not some puny escape plan. Puny escape plan. Oh jeez, Nick. God damn it, Nick. Why are you like this?
Yeah, one last case for the Winchester boys.
Oh god, those words
You had
hurt.
to go there.
Yeah,
Okay,
those words
There
hurt.
have been at least 2 murders.
Like a dagger
one
to
was
the
just
heart.
Tonight, and the police reports it wasn't graffiti.
Runes? Symbols? Runes / symbols. Rimbles.
Alan always said he was my big brother, because he was born first.
That would make him your big
like
brother,
4
yeah.
minutes. He was always quoting stuff that sounded like it came from the Bible.
Like doomsday stuff or
Can I see that paper?
religious enthusiasm stuff?
It's Enochian.
He had
Means the word.
an Enochian
Killer
tattoo.
who reads and writes Enochian.
Really? Dean, it's Cass. I had to tell him.
Mm-hmm. People need to know about your stubbornness, Dean, and then he's trying to save you.
Killer prophet.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow. Enochian 101.
Uh-huh. English and Enochian.
Mr. Prophet speak.
The world of God, divine, death, and fire. Every wow.
Hey, check this out. So, firstborn.
Yeah.
And then she died in salty, bloody water. The Red Sea.
The Red Sea. Oh, he's bringing about
So then what's next up?
locusts, isn't it? The loc. Oh, wait, isn't it locusts?
And there went out fire from the Lord. And
Oh.
devoured them.
Oh, a fire. So he's gonna burn someone alive.
How you say?
No, don't do this, Tony. Don't do this. Don't do this. Oh, Jesus. Come on, extinguish it, Dean. Come on. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yep, come on. Chokehold, Sam. That's it. Oh no. Oh no.
Hey, stop.
Oh, he's gonna kill himself. No. Tony, no. Tony, no.
No.
Perhaps Donatello's state has created a prophet who's not only premature, but malformed.
Yeah.
Okay, but if Tony was
Because he's
wired
being.
wrong because of
Donatello's not
the next
alive
prophet
naturally. He's
would be
being
wired
kept
wrong
alive
as
by
well, and then the
man-made
next-
things.
And the next and the...
Oh no. Oh god, Nick, you need to get out of there. Nick, you need to get out of there. You need to leave now. So his house is haunted now? His house has been definitely haunted. Oh, his wife.
Lucifer.
Double no,
Sarah.
Nick. Double no, Nick.
Your wife.
Damn, he remembers Lucifer over his own wife. That is an extra special kind of mad.
Sarah.
You chose Lucifer. You wanted him.
The implication being he cheated on his wife with Lucifer.
You didn't come here. Then show me I'm wrong. Reject Lucifer right now. If you do, I can leave.
Oh, she's held here by jealousy and betrayal. Okay, that makes more sense.
Reject him, Nick.
He can't do it. He wants Lucifer. He very badly wants Lucifer.
Wherever it's darkest, wherever he is.
Wow, Nick really wants
Nick!
Lucifer back. Tell me this isn't happening again. Tell me this is not a Lucifer resurrection. Tell me that's not what's going on here.
Dr. Novak, meet, yes, I know.
Cass!
Mr. Winchester and the other Mr. Winchester.
Doctor,
Way to make them not sound like a couple.
so, Dr. Rashad, you were saying there's...
It's like he's trying to organize his memories, the words of God.
The stuff that he read from the tablet. Donnie, you good? You good? You good, Donnie?
Welcome back, champ.
Yeah, he's rising and shining. He's rising and shining.
Glasses.
Other people putting your glasses on for you never works.
Would you like more grape jello?
Well, actually, I'd prefer a bucket of extra crispy buffalo wings with a side of Tex-Mex sauce.
Okay.
That's the
Take it
Donatello
easy,
we know.
cowboy.
Yeah.
Just got back.
That's the Donatello we know.
He doesn't have a soul.
Oh, he still doesn't have a
No,
soul.
nobody's perfect.
Well, as long as he
Guys,
doesn't go
what
anywhere near
happened?
demon tablets again.
Did I work too much? Overload on Enochian?
I mean, look what just happened. Donatello never quit fighting, so we could help him because he never gave up.
He hung in there. Even though he
I
created
believe
a
in
fucked
us,
up profit,
dude.
but still, he hung in there. Whoa, Sam.
I believe in us. Hey. Why don't you believe in us too?
Sam, stop breaking my heart. You're breaking it and it hurts.
I believe in all of us.
Okay, that's good. That's
And
very
I'll
good.
keep believing until I can't. Until there's absolutely no other way that comes. If that day comes,
If, not when, if.
Sam, you have to take it for what it is. The end.
Yeah, we cross that bridge when we get there, Dean, just like we
And
always
you
have.
have to promise me that you'll do then what you can't do now, and that's let me go. And put me in that box. Don't hit me again, okay?
Well, if you do or say more stupid shit, then you might have to. Yeah, but I did not see that riot coming. And that's the end of that episode. Great. Whew, okay, well, so, I mean, Dean, his insistence on this whole thing is really unsurprising, given how, like, I mean, at first, he was surprised when he got Billy's final book. Even he was surprised about how, you know, like, how any of this could work, and if this really was the only option. But for him, I don't know how long it took, like, maybe a week to actually accept it and to realize this was really the only way, because even he asked her, like, you know, like, you've given me this, but what am I even supposed to do with it? Like, how am I supposed to approach this thing? And she's like, you know, that's all up to you, whether you approach it, whether you leave it, whether you use it somehow, it's all up to you. But for me, like, in my eyes, that's the only way that this ends well. So, you know, he was, like, steadily falling into that, like a deeper kind of pit of, like, acceptance that this really was the only way, and that there was no other way that this would end well. So, you know, like, that obviously brought along some of those nightmares, and him just, you know, seemed like him trying to put on, like, a happy face and being like, you know what, like, one last mission, one last case, this is how it's all gonna go out. And clearly Sam is on the completely the other end of the spectrum of that, of not being fine and not being okay, and just knowing that, you know, they're the Winchesters. They always find a way. Like, that is, like, one of their, like, signature moves. Like, whenever all hope seems lost, again, either improvisation or, like, a last minute kind of, like, solution. Like, they always find a way, and it's by sticking through the bad. It's by sticking through the bad, or even the possibility that the bad is the only way, that they actually find the good and they find the solution. So that's always been a recurring theme throughout the show. Like, you know, that, like, you know, when one of them has to be more self-sacrificial and whatnot, like, the other one has to try and convince them to find another way out of it, or to give them more time to find a way out of it. And then in the end of it, either the self-sacrifice still happens, but then the person survives, or just as the sacrifice is about to happen, one of them finds a way and it all gets fixed. But I think with this time, it's, again, it's far deadlier, because this is someone that they don't know how to defeat. I think I'm surprised they haven't tried out the Archangel Blade thing, because I'm, like, 80% sure they still have it. And as they know with Nick, it's like, you know, the host can survive, and the host does survive. That stabbing, it kills the Archangel, but the host can survive. So I'm surprised they haven't thought of that yet. But then again, on my end, maybe there's something I'm missing about that. Maybe Dean's not so comfortable with just being stabbed and not entirely knowing if he's actually going to make it out alive or not. But yeah, that's how that's rolling. But yeah, his insistence on this thing is just really hard to watch. Like him just trying to convince Sam over and over again that this is the only way, and then Sam being like reminding him of all the times that they've thought that before, only to be proven wrong by each other and by themselves. So, you know, he's just telling Dean, like, you know, be smarter about this. Think about all the times we've been through this exact same scenario before, and we've always found a way out, and we didn't need a box or a book or anything like that. We just needed our own determination and our own kind of, you know, our own willpower to fight through situations like these and actually, you know, wait until we actually come across the lesser of two evils or even a better one. But then by the end of the episode, Dean does agree, and like that final scene, Jared and Jensen just once again proving that they are acting, that their own acting skills are pretty much a mirror image of how they are like in real life. Because in real life, they have been like you know, you go to any clip of them at any convention or in public doing whatever, they are just as much brothers in real life as they are in the show, and that is just so perfectly reflected in the show that moments like that really goes to like it really pulls at your heartstrings. It really actually plays with your emotions, like seeing them like fighting against one another, just you know, fighting to actually protect one another, and you know, trying to find a better way to do things. And again, like Sam's speech being like, you know, like you're throwing all of this away based on some book, but you know, like up until now you've always been able to believe in us and our ability to actually get the job done and our ability to find the right solution, but this time you're just relying on some book instead of us. And that right hook he threw just out of anger, like it just, wow, just masterfully done. But Dean has now agreed. Like I think that was the final kick he needed, just to like be convinced again to believe in himself and to believe in his brother and their ability to fight, to actually fight their way out of these dilemmas. And you know, like he has made them agree that, you know, if the day ever comes that there literally is no other solution and that they have to lock him away, then Sam and Cass both have to lock him away. They have to take that chance. They have to put him down before Michael actually comes up. But he is willing to help them find and fight for more time and to fight for another chance to, you know, do better at this whole thing and to actually find a way to, you know, to remedy it. But yeah, that whole scene, that was just beautifully done. Nick, we saw Nick again. That happened. I don't know how the security guard falls for it, because anytime I feel like that's also a common kind of trope in movies and TV. Like when a prisoner claims like, oh, I can't do anything, I'm injured, I've got a broken leg and, you know, 4 broken ribs and, you know, a smashed up pinky, I can't do anything. And then in the end, as soon as the handcuffs come off, it's boom, boom, pow, just security guards out on the ground. Like that's like the number one cliche. Like they, like when they say they're not injured, that's when, like, when they say that they're injured and that they can't do anything, that's how you know that they've been rehearsing something in their head, like planning out how to actually do this and actually get out. But knowing Nick, like, I mean, I feel like the security guard should have been a lot firmer and told him to stick with the bedpan, and actually, you know, like, instead of letting him out to go to the toilet, because, you know, surely up until now he's been forced to use a bedpan. Surely that there's been no exception for him to go to the toilet now. Like, because if he has, then that would mean that he then knows his way around the outside of the hospital, and he actually, you know, he knows like how to get from point A to point B. But if he hasn't, then why would this one time suddenly be okay for him to go to the toilet? Like, because up until then, the security guard was actually quite firm in reminding him of what he was up against, like 4 different jurisdictions or something for everything he did, as including everything he did as Lucifer. Like even when Lucifer was possessing him, all the killings he committed, even in that body, under that possession even. So it makes no sense why the security guard would suddenly decide to let up then, but apparently he had to in order for the plot to progress. So that happened, but then he returned home, and that was probably the most awkward scene I've seen in this show, like, or at least one of them, like, you know, his the ghost of his wife coming back and telling him to reject Lucifer, but then Lucifer again choosing Nick again choosing Lucifer over his own wife, and his wife being stuck there because she felt, I do have better words, but just for the sake of context, I'm going to say cheated on. Like, his wife feels cheated on by Nick because he chose Lucifer over his own wife. But in truth, she does feel like a sense of betrayal, and you know, like, well, mainly betrayal, but also kind of like just a little bit of like jealousy, because now she knows that, you know, even now Nick can't reject Lucifer. Like, he can't stop saying no to him. And he was the one who resurrected him in the empty. He brought that form back, that ink form with the red eyes. Like, Nick resurrected him with his prayers, and now he's come back to his home where he originally was possessed by Lucifer, to actually try and find him again. And he even said, like, you know, he's gonna go to the deepest, darkest place he can find in the hopes that he can actually contact Lucifer again. So Nick's whipped. Nick, like, again, in that case, for lack of a better word, Nick is whipped for Lucifer. He would do anything and everything to get Lucifer back, which is just a terrible sign, because again, all that does is hint at Lucifer's return, and Lucifer's return is something I desperately don't want to see, because he's an overdone villain. He needs to die and stay dead. Nick himself needs to be kept away in some kind of psychiatric ward or something, I'm guessing. Like, that's probably the safest place for him. But yeah, Nick, I don't know what's going on with him. He's just so lost right now, and he is. I think at this point I probably would agree with Dean that he is too far gone, because it's not just a matter of him being punished for what he's done, but it's also a matter of him, you know, like, actually, you know, understanding that what he did was bad, and that, you know, Lucifer is at least partly to blame for that. I mean, sure, I mean, before Lucifer, Nick still had his family, I think. No. Yeah, no. But for a time before Lucifer, Nick still had his family, but then Lucifer ordered the hit on Nick's wife and kid, and then he came for Nick, and then that allowed him, like, a more vulnerable person to take hostage of, or to take possession of. But even now, like, after seeing everything he did while in Lucifer's body, I don't know, I mean, I guess there is some kind of killer instinct inside Nick that he's kind of fostering, that was kind of nurtured and fostered by Lucifer, that he can't let go of, and because of that he can't let go of Lucifer either, I guess. But again, I think that would only mean that, you know, he needs to be kept away somewhere that he can't get to Lucifer, and somewhere Lucifer can't get to him, should he be brought back to life in some way, which I pray to God he isn't. But yeah, Nick's storyline, I don't know where it's going at this point. I think maybe he's just gonna hole himself up in his basement and just sit there praying to Lucifer every night, and probably even the day, and try and find a way to, like, bring him back somehow. But it's not gonna work. He's just gonna be sat rotting away in his basement. So yeah, that's gonna happen with Nick. What else? So the prophets. So Donatello, being the way he was still messing with the whole cycle of prophecy and the cycle of prophets. Like, because Cass said, his mind was trying to rebuild itself after him having been in that state, and he was still without a soul. So all the information he absorbed into him without a soul, without that filter, was still there, and that's what was being used to rebuild his mind, and to help create the next line of prophets. So with Tony Alvarez, I think because since one prophet has to die in order for the other one to be chosen and reborn, I would say it's safe to think that, you know, the memories of the previous prophet, biblically speaking, get passed down onto the next prophet. So, you know, I think, who was the prophet before Donatello? I think it was Kevin, right? I think so. Was there anyone before? No, I think... No. No, I don't think so. No, I think it was Kevin. Yeah, because I think it was like back in season 12, I believe, that we actually met Donatello. 12 or 11? I think 11. Yeah, with the whole stuff with Amara. Yeah, that was I think that was around the time we met Donatello. And that was like a good enough time after Kevin's death. So yeah, like him, so I would think that knowledge got passed down into Donatello, but then all the stuff went down with Amara, and then he tried to do the stuff again with the Demon Tablet, in the last season, and then then that information is all still in his head, so his mind is trying to rebuild from that, and then that's like because he's also hanging on by his fingernails onto life, and he's like on the borderline between it because he's not being kept alive naturally. I think that would play a heavy role in like whether or not a new prophet is chosen. Like if the previous prophet is actually properly dead, but you know they're being kept alive by man-made things, that would keep them phasing in and out of like life and death. So then, like for a time when he's biblically pronounced dead, that would mean a new prophet is chosen with that knowledge passed down onto them, or at least that ability passed on to them. But then that information that's rebuilding in Donatello's mind is all stuff about like Moses and like the plague and the Red Sea and all that kind of darkness that's just roaming around inside his head. That's then passed on to Tony, and then he uses that to like those words that he hears. He assumes it's the word of God, that God's telling him to do all this stuff. So then he goes on to enact those and kill those people. So I think that's just like new kind of information being like new lore being like revealed about how the prophets actually work, which is really cool. And it's good to see Donatello back up and running again. He's awake. His mind is a little clearer. He still has no soul, so as long as he doesn't go anywhere near the Demon Tablet again, he should be fine. But yeah, he has no soul, but he is. I think there's probably just a little bit of a mind wipe that Cass did as well, because he didn't actually remember what happened before Cass did his whole thing, or maybe even before that, maybe before reading the Demon Tablet without soul. So he just kind of his mind is blank, but he is back to normal. So he is the prophet once again, but a non-functioning one, because he can't. I mean, he can't go to the Demon Tablet, but I mean, by name, that sounds really messed up anyway. Like the Demon Tablet, like that sounds like it's gonna have a lot more like harmful information. Like, but something like the Angel Tablet, like would that really harm him? I mean, there are good and bad angels as well, but I mean, with the Angel Tablet, that would be like it sounds nicer. But I don't know if that would actually contain any kind of deadly information, like how to kill angels or how to kill humans or both or something like that. And then he just goes on to reenact that. But either way, he's alive and he's back. I don't know if his mind works the way the way that a prophet's does, but I mean, he's still like back to his old self, still eating Jello and still asking for buffalo wings. So he is back to his good old human self. So that's very good to see. So I don't know if we'll be seeing him again, but unless there's another episode that calls in for a Demon Tablet reading or an Angel Tablet reading. But it's good to see Donatello back. Very good to see Donatello back. Okay, what else? But I think that's basically all I have from this. I think this episode did kind of bring about more of a focus on Dean and how he's handling the whole like insistence on using the Malif box thing, whilst also using Sam and Castiel's kind of like efforts to change his mind and convince him this isn't the way, there's a better way that we can do this, and you have to let us try. But Dean just being like, this is the only way, the book says so, and Michael, he's breaking out more and more every day, and one day he's actually going to end up taking over his mind, so he has to actually lock himself away in the box before that happens, and then cue the memories he has of being underwater, trapped in the box, his phone battery dying out, and just calling out for Sam to come save him. But yeah, I think that kind of thing I did see coming, but I mean, I guess I think even then, even someone as kind of stubborn, as dead set of a mind as Dean, someone who has as dead set of a mind as Dean, can still like have some doubts, and like they can put on an insistent front, but it's like, the way it works for them is that the more that they insist it's not that they're trying to convince others, but they're also trying to convince themselves, because I think Dean knows if he stops and thinks about this for even a second, he's going to second guess himself. He's going to consider asking Sam for help. Sam's going to talk him out of it, like he knows he will. Cass is going to do the same, so he has to keep telling himself that this is the only way for him to believe it, like so that he can actually properly believe it. Because if he doesn't, and if he starts second guessing himself, that means that they're all the more closer to losing Dean to Michael, and Michael escaping the cage in Dean's mind. So Dean has to keep telling himself that in order for this to actually, in order for this plan to come to fruition. Like, the more he tells himself, the more he knows that he'll actually have the strength to carry this whole thing out and actually lock himself away. Which again is just his stubbornness, like his sacrificial kind of stubbornness, playing into it. But that ending was a very, very like a much more positive note to see things on, the fact that he is actually willing to believe in him and his brother and in Cass again, and to actually spend some time looking for a better way, looking for another way, to actually save him and to stop Michael. The fact that he's not automatically pulling the self-sacrifice card, and he's actually taking the time to make sure that there's no other way before inevitably or finally doing the deed. So yeah, but that is pretty much all I have on this episode. So yeah, that was Supernatural season 14 episode 12, titled Profit and Loss. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode, and what you think of this ending, and what you think of Dean's mindset and everything else that happened. And yeah, that's it. So I will see you guys next time.